Welcome to Kibitzer.
What?
Kibitzer. Do you keep saying what every single time?
I'm gonna make this a running joke.
It's not funny for me. My name is Peter,
I'm Jackson.
and we are at Thursday night, and we have our Meetup.com thing going on right now.
Yeah.
So we have a few free games going on. What games do we have going on there, Jackson?
We got a pair of Gundam machines on the single player
Network.
cabinets.
There you go.
Network.
22-inch cabinets. Yeah, 22-inch cabinets.
Yep. And we also got Guitar Freaks V2.
Mm-hmm.
Got Dynamite Deca on the big screen machine.
Right, and I had no idea what that was until Jackson explained to me earlier tonight.
Yeah, it's been the origins of the Dynamite, the Die Hard arcade game, which is the 3D brawler.
Yeah.
So Dynamite Deca EX is the sequel to the original game that's based off of that.
What year is this? It looks pretty fairly kind of like, what do you call it? That shooter game?
It's early 2000s.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it looks fairly new for that one.
Yeah. Yeah, so you go around, beat stuff up, and you have quick time events in between.
There you go. That's always interesting. I mean, team player games has always been more of my interest than versus games. I suck at versus.
Different mindset.
Yeah.
Speaking of versus, we got Street Fighter Alpha 1 on there.
Yep, and they lost like 5 rounds on there already, so not my type of game.
And then on the last cabinet, we got the Ultimate 11, which is the fourth game in the Striker series.
Yep, and once again, no interest in much soccer stuff, but it's always, some people like it. And did you say it was one of the better ones or whatnot?
It's one of the more well-produced, well-animated ones where it has a lot of cutscenes.
Okay, yeah, it's more like realistic, or in terms of players getting...
No, this is more arcade-like, where you actually run up and punch people, headbutt them.
Very good.
Yeah, you have a super meter, it charges up, and when you get a
super meter in soccer. That's right.
You get a power shot that pretty much gives you a guaranteed goal.
Sounds cheap.
That's the point.
Sounds cheap. Oh my god. Well, we after some researching and some topic searching, so I think one of the things that we want to talk about tonight is Netflix.
Okay, what about Netflix?
So apparently Netflix Canada is trying to restrict people. Well, it's always restricted people from trying to view the U.S. ones. That's why they have different shows on.
Yeah, it's different studios have different licenses for different regions.
Right, and apparently it might get big enough so that because a lot of Canadians have figured out to use VPNs.
What is VPN?
Virtual private networking.
Okay.
To tunnel into a U.S. server and then stream it from off the U.S. Side and then just transfer in, and so you can see it, right?
Yep. And
apparently the company doesn't like that.
Well, yeah, because they have to toe the company line. They have to appease the studio providers, like the content providers. That's the word I'm going for. Content providers.
Yeah, I guess the contracts and whatnot. Apparently, it's all regional. Well, obviously, it's regional or at least national wise.
Yeah.
So we can't. We're not supposed to be trying to even watch the U.S. ones, even though the U.S. ones always had better movies. And I haven't used Netflix for myself in about 2 years, but even back then, I've always noticed the U.S. ones had way more movies. And I finished watching all the Canadian stuff, and I was like, well, when are they going to give me the new stuff?
Yeah, part of the reason behind that is the CRTC, and they have to enforce the Canadian content law. And part of that is that anything that has broadcast media in the Canadian media has to have at least some percentage of Canadian content on it.
Well,
so that's why you can't overflood American content on Netflix on Canadian servers because there's not enough Canadian content to offset that.
That's also true since a lot more stuff is produced in the U.S. But speaking of that, since our dollar is so low, that there should be a lot more production coming into Canada this year.
Yeah, that's another thing about the Canadian dollar and the economy is that a lot of Vancouver is a big home to a lot of studio production work. So because
North Hollywood, Vancouver.
Yeah, so Vancouver is like the stage for a lot of American cities and movies.
Yeah.
So it pretends to be a lot of cities.
Yeah.
And back when the Canadian dollar was at par or really close, a lot of American studios stopped using Vancouver because they are not getting the same dollar value as they once had.
Yeah, the savings wasn't enough to justify flying everybody over.
Yeah.
Or trying to contract local studios to do that type of thing, since everybody wants to charge a bit more for that type of production, right?
Yeah. So that's one of the reasons, at least a few years back when the dollar was strong, the Canadian dollar was strong, that there was some protests or whatever, or some advertising to get more studios to do work in Vancouver.
Right. Now it's a good time, actually. Right.
Well, yeah, because it's now that the American dollar is so much stronger than the Canadian dollar, the American studios can come up to Vancouver and get more bang for the buck, kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like a 40% difference.
Yeah.
Just off the top of the head, not even looking at bank rates and whatnot, right? So 40% is huge if you're talking about like saving taxes and everything as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of tax breaks for doing stuff here in Canada.
And even software now. Even the software thing is happening more in Vancouver.
Yep.
Speaking of which, for in that sense, I mean, it's trailing off from the movie side of just from the Netflix thing, right? Once we have more Canadian content, then we should allow more U.S. content to trickle in, maybe.
Oh, that's one of the
ratios,
things.
Maybe.
That's one of the reasons, but it's not all of the reasons. But yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the main stipulation with a lot of Netflix-related content is that it's region locked.
Yeah. Just like how
it's because the content providers force that on Netflix, and they have their own distributions and whatnot for other regions and the license holders. Yeah,
I mean, that's gonna be. I mean, we're not sure about how they're gonna restrict people. I mean, stopping a VPN is pretty difficult from my point of view. I mean, just knowing a bit of networking and whatnot, right? You can't stop a VPN. I mean, some people use it for company, some people use it for privacy issues, and some people just, hackers like to use VPNs for that type of thing, to jump around networks and whatnot.
Yeah, the internet's going to be the internet.
Yeah. I mean, unless, the internet becomes, sorry to say, more like, what's that word? That's not so,
what?
Not fascist, but is it fascist? Whatever, the more controlling, like limiting everything.
I don't know what the term is.
Right. So, So unless they can completely cut off the internet, which they won't.
Unless they restrict it like China does.
Yeah, but even China, if you look at China themselves, if you look at their content, they allow. I mean, they're more strict now than they were before, but they were just flowing. Content was just flowing out of their country, right? A lot of like the international people, I know that they use VPNs or some sort of whatnot to watch the Chinese shows.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of the Chinese shows included American shows subtitled in Chinese.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Right. So, they wanted to watch those shows as well, but it's becoming more tight. I mean, China's having that, but it's hard to control, a billion people.
No, it's rather difficult, but like when you're it's the internet service provider that has to enforce the government laws when it comes to like access and whatnot.
Yeah.
So one of the things I've never actually tried it myself, but I think like China can't access Google.
Yeah, they can't access Google, Facebook, Twitter.
They have their own equivalents.
Yeah. They have like I totally forgot the name for that thing. Weibo. There's a Weibo. There's a WeChat. Which is their main their version or their copy of WhatsApp.
Right.
Yeah. So fairly cool. On their sides of things. I mean, they have their thing going on, and it's fun. It's fun in that sense.
Yeah. It's what happens when you have different governments with different policies.
Yeah, and obviously we hope for more, information and whatnot. Obviously not to lose sight of, our Canadian heritage and all that great stuff. I mean, that's what the CRTC is looking after.
Yeah.
So, props to them for trying to hold that.
I miss them doing those, like, Canadian history shorts. They used to air on CBC.
Yeah, I like those ones. Like, there's a lot of railroad stuff, a lot of, women's rights, a lot of voting. There's some basketball stuff in there. I just remember some of these. I'm sure you can find those on YouTube.
Yeah, like the brief history of hockey.
Yeah, and hockey. I remember the hockey one and the basketball one.
Yep.
Yeah. And then there was
It's like, why'd you just kind of hold the bottom of the basket?
down. You're right. Freaking $1 billion idea right there.
We're just paraphrasing this, but that was the crux
That
of the
was the
episode.
thing. I'm posted here. You'll find it. You'll find it. But yeah, the idea of just trying to save Canadian content or like just and and just trying to make sure that we retain some nationalism for our side of things, anyways. For to be proud of what we do over here in our country for in terms of the TV and the shows and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of good Canadian content.
There is. I haven't had time to watch much for any of them, but I totally support I'm Canadian, so I support Canadian content as well, right? I support having stuff being done here so that it improves our economy or whatnot as well. But yeah, enough about that. I mean, good or bad, you guys can decide on that part. We're just letting you know. Obviously, they're going to try and stop VPNs. Once again, I don't know how, but if you know, you can leave a comment below. Next thing.
What's on the next topic?
Next topic. Actually, what I wanted to talk about was, what's your favorite survival game?
Survival game?
Survival game.
What are the definitions of a survival game?
Like person trying to survive against odds, from the environment or from external factors such as zombies, beasts, ghosts.
So we're talking specifically about natural disasters and whatnot?
I just said beasts, ghosts, and zombies as well.
Okay, that casts a broad range.
Of course it's it's a survival game. Survival.
So we're talking about limited supplies and all?
Of course, right? I mean, obviously the first one that comes to my mind was Biohazard or Resident Evil 1.
Resident Evil 1?
Yeah, that's the first one that comes to my mind.
Oh, survival horror.
Yeah, though that's survival horror. It's still survival.
Okay.
It's just it's just more specific, right? And then
because some people would claim like Minecraft would be a survival game.
Really? I've never played Minecraft, so.
You build stuff. You can turn all that stuff off. It's all optional.
Yeah.
Like during the nights, you get attacked by stuff that's trying to destroy you and the things you built.
Wow. And kids play this.
Well, yeah, it's very mutable. Like you can do whatever you want in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything can be turned off.
Nice. Well, I haven't. Once again, I'll try it out maybe later or something like that. But what's your favorite survival?
Survival.
I mean, you played a lot of them, anyways.
Well, yeah, without a hard definition, it's kind of hard to describe.
That is a survival against either or, and environments, zombies, beasts, other people. Apocalypse could be one. Apocalypse without zombies. Apocalypse with the zombies.
I'm stalling for time because I can't think of an answer.
Yeah. This is coming from a gamer. This guy games more than me.
Because I have way too many that would fall into the range. But if I had
a favorite, like, if you say, fine, I'm not gonna go horror survival because I said mine. Environment survival. Without zombies.
What was that? That game.
Fallout.
Fallout is a good one, but it's not particular favorite. What was that game? He plays a Pomeranian in the destroyed Tokyo. I forgot what's it called.
A dog?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look this up again now.
Well, he'll post
That's not my favorite. It's something that popped up in my head when you said environment disaster.
That's a weird one. Is it like an earthquake thing? And then
it's like when humans.
Why is it so cold?
What?
It's so cold in here.
Because the heater's not turned on.
The heater's on the other side. Oh, well, yeah.
It's like one of that Discovery channels, like Earth Without Humans kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So it's that kind of scenario.
Okay.
So like animals are like surviving on their own without humans.
Oh, and you're a Pomeranian.
You're a Pomeranian. You can play as unlock a whole bunch of different animals. Like, it goes in wild different directions because it's a fantasy.
Right.
At some point, you unlock a dinosaur.
Well, that's easy. Probably some sort of a T-Rex type or a raptor. That'd be interesting.
I'm gonna post the name of this later, but
yes, you will. Right there. Let's go for
Left 4 Dead is another one that came up to mind when I thought about it.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead
is that really Survivor? But it's like Team, right?
It's a team survivor.
Team Survivor, I guess. Yeah, I spent good 1,000 hours on that one. I mean, I had some good.
Yeah, I used to put a lot of mods into the Left 4 Dead, and
Why?
what
It's so good just by itself.
it's so good by itself. But got bored and I put mods into it. One time I forgot, and I had a tank come at me going, "Ooh yeah!"
So he had the Kool-Aid guy running around.
Cool. Well,
Kool-
that
Kool-Aid
Kool-Aid guy, and
Kool-Aid
Macho
tank.
Man. So yeah, I was like, it completely freaked me out because I wasn't expecting it. So
That's why you don't mod stuff, because you forget and then it scares you.
like I should have saw it coming because
Waking
I
up
heard
to your own makeup.
like I heard the tank music come up, and then like all of a sudden a giant like Macho Man voice comes up. It's like, oh man.
I mean that's always a good one. I mean Left 4 Dead 2, very good sequel to it. I mean I was hoping for Left 4 Dead 3, but I guess they're not gonna.
Valve's kind of stopped making games. They just support Dota and CS:GO now.
Yeah, I think. Well, I thought that was a bad move, but the Team Survivor thing was always. I thought it's a great market.
Yeah,
I mean, even Resident Evil kind of runs off of that now, right?
kind of. Yeah, with their
6.
5 and 6, they have co-op modes.
Yeah, and is it more fun?
Not really.
No. Well, in Left 4 Dead it is because you're talking with each other
Well,
live, and you can coordinate tank attacks and.
Yeah, the pacing of Resident Evil co-op is not as fast as Left 4 Dead, which doesn't really work out so well.
Yeah, I see. So if it was faster.
No, you go in the opposite direction and go slower.
Oh.
And what is that? The Resident Evil online game
Oh.
back in the PS2.
Oh, that one.
They had two games just on it.
I don't remember that one.
You picked a character, and each character had a specific trait or tool.
What's different from that one that they tried to release online, like within the last 2 years? Yeah, that one's pretty crappy.
Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah.
I like the premise of that game, just that it didn't execute very well.
And they didn't follow up, obviously, because they just stopped following up on it altogether.
No, because the single player was a buggy mess, and that game was not designed to be a single player game.
Well, they should just eliminate it altogether. It would mean.
But it was enforced on them.
Yeah, it should have been.
But there's the new Resident Evil game is multiplayer focused, and that's more or less the spiritual sequel to Operation Raccoon City.
Yeah. That's whatever happens, right?
You have anti-zombie backpacks.
My proton pack works fine.
Yeah, and the goal is to break your opponent's anti-zombie backpack so they come and attack you.
So is it like emits like a sound wave or something? Like,
I don't know what
like a rat thing.
Something.
Yeah, because they have those. I know you can buy those at the Home Depot. Like you just plug it into the wall and it emits a radio wave or whatever wave that prevents that those things don't like.
Supposedly.
Right. So it's okay. That's weird, but okay.
It's like your anti-elephant repellent.
Yeah, I don't have that.
But that's just a rock. Yeah, but do you see any elephants around?
Sold.
Another Simpsons reference.
But yeah, it's survival games are always a good hit in terms of first one of the other ones I played was Fatal Frames.
Oh, those are good.
Yeah, with 5.1 surround sound in the middle of the night. Yeah, you're not sleeping.
Yeah, it's creepy because you have to attack in first person, and they come right into your face.
Yeah, and it's always so sudden, kind of like those freaking little GIFs things or those movie things where they make you stare at the screen for a while to see if you see the ghost, and then suddenly just pops up right in your screen. I hate those things.
You don't handle jump scares very well.
Well, not with my Twitch reaction now. Right, you either cover up or you hit. So, it's good to train that way.
Speaking of which, the new Fatal Frame is on the Wii U, and it kind of secretly went on sale on October on Halloween weekend or Halloween week.
Is it more of an augmented reality type thing, or is it just more of a?
Kind of like you actually use the Wii U tablet as your camera.
Yeah, so you use it and you.
Yeah, and then you go portrait or landscape in order to get the best angle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the augmented reality technology is going to really help that survival game thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if someone just makes one and then just can change the environment altogether, I mean, that would just be so cool. But that would also create a bunch of walking people with the Wii U's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is weird.
Well, they tried to do that with the 3DS.
Which is also not safe, by the way.
No, it's not safe. No, they tell you warnings not to do that.
Yeah, you should probably have a room or something like that and just stay in that room. I mean, obviously, it wouldn't be that exciting, right? You can maybe green screen it. Or, I don't know. Like they'll figure something to make it more exciting.
Yeah, like the 3DS one, like they recommend you to sit in a swivel office chair. Because they use the motion tracking of the 3DS and they make you like turn around in order to catch the ghost from behind. Because they attack you from behind.
That's lame.
Yeah,
That's just cheap. That's just cheap. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sucker punching.
No, but that's the point of the game.
The point of getting sucker punched by a ghost?
Yeah.
And then the ghost will just kill you anyways. Speaking of which.
Yes?
Do you believe in ghosts?
Sure.
Just wondering. Jackson believes in ghosts.
I disagree.
What? You just you disagree with your own. That's erroneous. That's that's called BS on that one. You can't do that to your own comments. But yeah, oh my God. So yeah, we are at
time. Are
we at time? No. Well, yeah. At the same time, we want to enjoy our free games as well because we had it on setting before at all 25 cents per game for us.
Yeah.
And so we kind of didn't get a chance to play too much. Now we kind of set it all on free play on Thursday night, so I think it's time to enjoy some of the gaming and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's more fun that way.
Yeah, so if you're in the area, come by Thursday nights. You can watch us record and
do that type of thing.
And interact or just come play games. Yeah.
I mean, we'll try and get a Xbox or a PS3 up here, and then we have it, but we just haven't set it up yet. But we can play other games if you want. If you have your own game, you bring it by. If you want to contact us on Meetup.com, suggest some things. That's great too.
I want to play that board game.
Fine, we'll play your board game, my board game that you suggested. All right, and I think that's the end of the show. Once again, I'm Peter.
I'm Jackson,
and this has been another episode of Kibitzer. Shut up. Good night. End communications.
Yay.